All right, good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm back again for some game dev practice, working on our tower defense game. And I feel a little not censored. Right. Uh, okay, so we made some progress on things, and we added some notes here. I still don't really recall what cookie clicker style start. I think the idea was that you would. Oh, maybe the idea was that initially you would not have any defenses, anything you could put down on the map that would actually attack the enemies. That you would actually have to like manually click them to damage them. Maybe you would have like you like put a wall or other like static defenses to route them, to slow them down, and you would accumulate dollars. I don't know, cold coins to use to buy things, and then you would eventually be able to um, purchase things to do damage. Yeah, so that kind of thing might be a thing that we could do with this as a start. So that is at least what that line means. I can remember that now. Oh, I realized what I'm missing in OBS. I used to have Twitch chat in OBS. I don't have that anymore. Let me see. Is that not a thing? Huh. Yeah, I used to have a little side dock that had Twitch in it, and I had Twitch chat uh, in a very convenient place. And I've just realized looking up at my stream manager that I have to look up at my stream manager to see if anything's going on in chat. I don't like that. I guess it does show up in OBS because of the embed, so that's fine. But what does load docs do? Nope. Okay, interesting. This version of OBS that I have installed doesn't have that feature. Okay, well, such is life. Anyway, back to uh, game dev stuff. We worked last week on enemy spawning, but we don't have different waves of enemies or timings or different types, so we can work on that. Player can add objects at runtime to a world, and destructible obstacles. I think so. We have one kind of enemy spawning, and we will. I mean, we need to do some things like when enemies attack things, there's actual visual representation of that, and then having different kinds of attacks, and enemies have different. Actually, having HP and being destroyable is a thing we'll want to do. All of that stuff. I think the big thing of the last couple of streams, I think, has been this pathing. So we want to um, make it so that not only is the map that you are playing will eventually have terrain, different natural obstacles on it, which we haven't really touched on at all in terms of like level design. I need to do something there at some point. We've just been kind of we have a placeholder of that concept where we have like just we'll have some static meshes here, obstacles for enemies to walk around, right? Um, but eventually having actual terrain, and we'll do some stuff in Blender, I guess. It's been a while. since I've even thought about doing that sort of thing, but we'll figure that out at some point. But pathing seems to be the thing. And so last stream we spent some time, I think, just playing around with avoidance, right? And didn't really get that. It sort of worked, right? Where the enemies would spawn. Let's see if we can see this. Let's control. So enemies will spawn over here, and they do, with the right settings, plan their way around the obstacle. But you can see their speed once they're around the obstacle, the thing they're avoiding, is much faster than this. Is just kind of like, well, I want to go this way, but this thing is in my way. Let me still plan on going this way, but oh, I can't. So, and they're much slower. They're not doing what I want, which is I want them to be like, oh, I can't go this way. The route I need to go is this way. But the thing is avoidance is not pathing, is I think what it comes down to. So they're two separate things. So the thing that we can do with the navigation region is we can bake the navigation mesh to say, oh, well, this is the area that you can actually walk in. I don't know what I just hit, but this is the area you can walk in, and so it can do, I think it's doing A star, right? For pathing. Let's see. All right, so it's an enemy now. Navigation agent. It's, I think, yeah, pathfinding algorithm. Currently, we just have A star. But that pathing algorithm is not used. From what I'm seeing, my understanding is not used for the avoidance side of this, where we say, okay, well, we have this obstacle, and we want to enable avoidance. It's not taking that into account when it's doing the path. It's making the path, which is like a straight shot, essentially, and then it's saying, well, okay, well, I can't go there, so let me make a really naive kind of like movement to work around the thing that I'm avoiding. So it seems like, with the short version of this, it seems like the avoidance is more of like, if we have a bunch of enemies, we probably want to use avoidance for the enemies to try to like not try to walk into one another. But this obstacle-based stuff doesn't seem to work. So what are we gonna do? Well, I after the stream, there's this window. After the stream last week, I went over into GitHub and I said, you know, what if we just did? What if we just rebake the navigation mesh? And I don't recall if I did some of this Googling on stream, kind of researching into this or not, but the question is, could we just like rebake the navigation mesh and just use that mechanism for obstacles dynamically as the game runs? And so there was a lot of, oh, well, it might not be performance, and here's things you can do about that, but at the scale that we're at, I don't think it matters. Right? For this, I mean, I think there may be some issues where we're talking about, and maybe we'll see this if we get to enough obstacles, maybe it's really slow. I did notice that the agents do take a little bit of time to pick up on the change to the nav mesh, and so that back to that. That's a thing where they will ignore that and, use what the route they will calculate a route or have calculated a route based on what the obstacles were before the nav mesh updated. So I don't think that's an issue though, because if the objects have collision, they won't be able to go through each other. So maybe things will get temporarily stuck, but then the agents will see the new nav mesh and then should plan their path, I think. And so basically I was like, I was feeling lazy after the stream yesterday, or yes, last week, last Sunday. Um, and I was just like, hey, let me create an issue, and Copilot wrote this PR for me, which I made some small changes. I just cleaned up some things that were left over, and I added some things to automatically create some random obstacles in the world when things are loaded, just to see what this did, and to see that behavior kind of at scale. So what this looks like. So we go back to Godot and reload from disk. So I got rid of all of the right. I got rid of all the static obstacles because what I really wanted to see was how does the system behave as we dynamically add obstacles. So you can see it spawned in a bunch of things, and then it rebakes the navigation mesh. And then there we go. You can see the enemy, and it obviously did maneuver to avoid things. And if we just add more obstacles, now because this is random, we're just kind of waiting on things to spawn that will, yeah. So that one didn't avoid that tight gap that it wouldn't pass through, but you can see the others now are. So there's a little bit of a lag between when the nav mesh updates and when the agents readjust their path. Now I guess I don't think these objects have collision. I guess I could test if I put collision on the objects how they behave. Let's take a look at this. Oh, they do have a collision shape. Do the enemies not have collision? Or maybe oh, so we have a collision shape 3D, but we didn't put a shape in it. Okay, so that's just oopsie. Just an oopsie. Let's see. So where that happens inside of main.gd. Okay, so we pick a random position and we create an obstacle, and the obstacle we make a material. We create some vertices. We add the obstacle to the navigation region. Is this supposed to be a shape 3D? Is a box mesh a shape? I don't think it is. Can we not control click? Let's see. I used to be able to control click in here. What happened? Collision shape 3D. Okay, that worked. And then we have a shape, which is a shape 3D. Okay. Versus the thing that we're trying to set it to right now, box mesh. Hey, Brainless. Hello. Good morning. How's it going? So a box mesh is extends primitive mesh from mesh from okay, so it's not a subclass of shape 3D. So this is a wrong thing. Let me go back to shape 3D. There is a box shape 3D that takes a vector size. Okay. Box shape. Oops. Shape 3D. Not new. Shape size. Um, when we just set this to size. How am I doing? Good. I got my coffee. All is well. Have an OCD moment. Had an OCD moment last night and began implementing Google authentication to a service I made for work. Got it working now. Authorization time. Yes. What was I doing? So in in glowing Telegram land, which is a weird thing to say, the project that I was working on stream before this game dev stuff, I was actually uh doing some enhancements, some things, and one of those things was checking um that the Google Auth for YouTube was still valid before starting the upload process for videos for YouTube. So that's work on that project is still happening. I'm using a lot of just like I was showing this Copilot written pull request for our tower defense. I am also doing that a lot for glowing Telegram. In fact, I have a bunch of PRs that I need to refine and review. There we go. So enhance YouTube auth validation to test refresh token, which it did a lot of things that weren't right, but eventually I cajoled it into to actually checking the refresh token, trying to use the refresh token to see if it could be used, because that seems to be the issue, is that over time eventually the refresh token for OAuth can no longer be used to get a fresh token. And that was happening for me when it was, so I would be logged in, I would have the access and refresh token stored, and then sometime later I would be like, hey, take these 3 videos and upload to YouTube. And so there would be a background process that would upload, and it would try to get an access token from the refresh token, and it just wouldn't work because it had been too long. Which there is, like, when you auth, there's a expires in, or a thing that tells you how long the access token is good for. But how long is the refresh token good for? I don't know. I guess another consideration is because my app, my app in the Google Developer Console that I set up it's not verified or anything. It's just for development purposes, because this is just for me for right now. Maybe there's some restriction there where it dies more quickly. So maybe we'll have collision now, and so that will help. I should probably just change the default at one point I made a thing where I could hit, oh yeah, I didn't keep that, where I could actually manually place the blocks. That is the next thing we're going to work on once I make sure that my theory that okay, I think that might have been an example of basically I want to see that the collision is working and that works well with. No, see, that went right through that box. Okay, well anyway, I think a more effective way of testing this is probably just to do the next thing I want to do. So, we are going to clean this PR up and merge it, and we're going to move on to the next thing. And what did Brainless say? Yeah, I need to get more familiar with OAuth in general, but the bare minimum is there. User click button goes to Google because user gets a record created. This reminds me of Boulder Dash. Okay. What is Boulder Dash? It is a game. Famous classic video game. This? Nope, never heard of it. You grew up with it? I did have an Atari at one point growing up. But that is not a game that I think I had. Um, okay. So, like I said, let's what do I want to do here? I want to, we're just going to get rid of the ready. We're not going to randomly spawn in obstacles, I think, for now. Basically, you need to go through the map. Boulders will fall, block paths, or kill you. Okay. Right, so the boulders would fall, and then either they would squash you, or they would block your path, and you'd have to go around. Would be the idea. Okay, so I'll keep the create obstacle function here. I don't think we need this random one anymore, so we don't need this function either. And we don't need this input, which means we don't need this key. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. And get rid of that. What is this? So this button. Oh, I see. We have a UI control node, and we have a button inside of it. I'm gonna leave that right there for right now because I think the next thing I want to do is actually add some buttons. But we're gonna remove this connection from there, and so reload and brainless is yep, cool. Okay, so if I run this now, it's much more boring. We still have the button. But that doesn't do anything, and we should be spawning enemies, but I don't see them. Why? I bet I know why. So let's go to navigation region and bake the mesh, save it, and then run. Why does it say no current target to attack? And why? Okay, that's working. I think one thing I want to do here is I'm going to go to remote. I want to look at how the camera's set up, and we're going to reproduce these settings. Where's size? There's size. So this is maxes out at 100 meters. I guess it's good enough. So let me just grab these things. What if I click edit? No. Copy. There we go. All right. Yes, hello, bot. Goodbye, bot. All right, let's stop this. And then I want to just put those settings on the camera to start with so that we don't have to adjust it. So, -7, 40, and let's call it 7. And then the rotations never change, the scale doesn't change, and the size should be maxed out. There we go. Okay, so that will allow us to have a good kind of starting viewpoint. So we can like see the enemy spawn and come in. I think maybe the enemy spawning might not be in camera. There we go, but we can pretty rapidly see it in our kind of pseudo isometric view here. All right, so that's a start. Oh right, you're on Linux. How have you been liking it? Oh, also, hi Vivax, how's it going? Yeah, it's been good. I did actually have to boot into Windows, or at least I thought I did. It was very strange. I guess I must have copied some stuff out of WSL from Windows into Linux at some point, because I was like, oh, I don't have this project that I was working on. I couldn't find it. I couldn't, I was looking through things and I didn't see it. And then I went through the trouble of rebooting, going into Windows, doing like a export of WSL into a gzipped tar file, and move it over and all that stuff, only to be like, oh, there it is. But wait, I already have, yeah. So I don't know, but I have a separate copy of that. That's the main thing, because I could not figure out how to get at the files inside of WSL in Windows from Linux. And then I went to reboot, and it was like, well, please wait while we set up Windows. And I was like, I didn't ask you to update or anything. So I just force rebooted the computer against Windows advice, and it penalized me because I could no longer mount 2 of the partitions in Linux as read-write. And I had to go back, reboot back into Windows, check disk, reboot again, let it do the scan, and then reboot back to Linux. So I don't think I'll be going back into Windows again. Yeah, exactly. Yes, indeed. Oop. All right. It's trying to key control. Well, I'm not gonna let it. It's I mean, Windows 10 is hitting end of life, and I'm gonna let it die. I do have Windows 10 on a Surface Book Pro. Is it the Pro 2? Whatever it is. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Just ignore it. Honestly, mainly use Linux for the desktop environments and window managers. Yeah. Currently using KDE Plasma. The last time I was on NixOS, which was this is NixOS. The last time I was on NixOS before I started using Windows 10, I was using Xmonad. So, very lightweight sort of environment. I don't know if I'll go back to that at some point. I'm just, I'm pretty happy with how things are set up kind of out of the box with KDE on NixOS. So, might just stay here. I managed to get most everything working. OBS was kind of a pain, mainly because the sources are different. Basically, you cannot do a straight like export and import from OBS Windows to Linux. Yes. KDE is nice. Never got used to it. I'm a GNOME fan. Yeah, GNOME was my main desktop environment long ago, before Xmonad and all that. Wanted to keep my desktop and laptop. Yes. Oh, you recently switched back to NixOS. Nice. Well, we're in the same boat. Although my switch is from Windows 10 to NixOS rather than between distros. Yes, I think I still have a .files repo on GitHub that has a bunch of stuff that has like my Nix configuration from my old laptop that I worked off of. It's so old at this point. But yeah, anyway. So, game dev stuff. Right. So I wanted to have a button. Yes. What is preview? So preview doesn't show us the UI though. How do we see? Oh, I think we go 2D, and then we can see the UI elements. Yes. Right. So there's our spawn obstacle button. Yeah, it's been really enjoying Neri. I came across that. I don't the browser. I have a browser window that has all my like Linux research stuff. And there was a subreddit that has like desktop, setups sort of things. I forget the name of it, but that was something that came up when I was looking into things. And it looked interesting. And then Braylon said something as well. I'm very interested in switching to Hyperland, but last time I tried, I couldn't get used to it. I've not heard of Hyperland. But it seemed like it would be something that I would need to make some, it's basically, so Neri is, Hyperland is also pretty, so hold on, I just gotta like Hyperland with yeah, fewer vowels. Okay, so it's like a window manager. It's a Wayland compositor. Okay. All the eye candy, gradient borders, blur animations. Oh, they have a gallery. Oh, that's really cool. Here, let me just. I won't keep it to myself. Here, we'll bring it over. Like, here we go. This looks cool as a desktop interface. It's also Tally Window Manager. Okay. My friend is close to releasing a new game in Steam. Nice. Someday. I really like actually these. Okay, here's a gallery of someone on NixOS. What if I had a desktop environment, desktop that looked like this? Is this this reminds me of Kurt Gazut's art style. I don't know if that's what that's from, but this looks cool. Okay, well I'll be looking into that. Let's move this to a separate window, and I will put this show in all activities. There we go. Okay. I'll be able to find it later. That's one thing that I have been. So when I was on Windows, what I was doing was I was using just separate desktop. So I'd have one desktop that would be just like for personal stuff, and then I'd have one desktop that would be like just for things for streaming. But the thing was that like, okay, well, I have some things that I need to move between desktops because there's stuff that I want to like. I want to be able to like after the stream's over, I'm gonna bring this tab, this window, and maybe Godot over to the other desktop. And so this KDE environment has this activities thing. So I have a little thing that I can switch between, and then I can like assign windows to either default or streaming or both, and that's nice. Anyway, what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to have players can add objects at runtime to the world. Now, I think what I want is I want a button here. We're going to call this, I guess we'll just leave it spawn obstacle button. We'll get rid of the O. No, just leave it like that for now. Yeah. Let's change this around a little bit. Let's add a child node. There should be under control. We have different kinds of containers. So I think we want like a HBox container. So we'll just have like a series of buttons. So what's the game, Brainless, that your friend is close to releasing? Is it anything good? We'll put this in there. And then can we anchor? To the bottom. There we go. Okay, that worked. We'll just change this. We'll be like obstacle. Oops. Obstacle. There we go. And we could have an icon. We can have a placeholder texture icon. That does nothing. Maybe if I... Oh, there we go. So let's do like 16 by 16. There we go. That looks nice. Ish. And we could do more things with like controls, and we can have some like padding is a thing. Layout, transform, container sizing. We could do things, but this is fine. Basically, I want it so that I can click this. I think, how's this gonna work? I think ultimately what I want is something where you can either press the button or you can just hit like 1 on the keyboard, and it gives you a thing that your mouse, like it puts a thing on the mouse, and then you can click on in the world to place the thing. Is I think what I want it to do. Now I don't know how to do that, how to do that at all, but we're gonna figure it out. Okay. So I am going to hook up a signal on pressed, and we're going to send that to main. On spawn obstacle button pressed, we'll connect that, and we'll have a function. And we're just going to print some text, and then what to bring, let's say. I don't know how to describe it. Interesting. It's an interesting concept. Art is not my style, though. According to the Steam page, it is a puzzle platformer, and they have a demo now. Yeah. If you get a link, you can share it. Pull it up. Oh right. So let's go ahead and commit all of this. And we'll push it up and we'll merge it, and then we'll move on. All right, bulbous belief system. Oh, bulbous belief system. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Where is my browser? It's a very bright color scheme. Knowledge is both a tool and an obstacle. Bulbo believes everything he's told, letting him see, move, and interact, but he can forget. Erase walls from existence, ignore gravity, and manage. So this reminds me of what is the one game? It's kind of like a wordplay. Like this being able to change the nature of the game. Sort of thing reminds me of something. I don't remember the name of it. It's the one where you write words or you connect words in some way. I forget. It's like something Baba is you. That's it. Have you seen this one, Brainless? I've not actually played this myself, but I've seen a playthrough of it, which was entertaining, both in the sense of the game. You have not, okay? Oh right, so it's that's right. So you have these words that you can that are like blocks you can move around, and by changing sentences, you can essentially change the nature of the game world. There you go. Baba is you. So that this specifically reminded me of that. So what does this look like? We have a video. Gravity, walking. Now he knows about both. Oh, but he can forget. Okay. Okay. Feels like a similar concept, yes. I guess in Baba Is You, though, it's, I mean, there are like levels. I haven't seen enough of this to know, but specifically the concepts or the things can be linked together in ways that like interrelate. And I don't know if we've seen that here. Like it's, you can know things and thus be affected by them, but interesting. Is this like a level map? That's neat though. Bulbo's belief system is very simple. He can only believe in 4 things. Okay. So I think that is probably where a lot of the gameplay emerges, is from like making sure you're knowing the combination of things to be able to navigate the world. I'll add it to my wish list. Oh, well, I will move this to a different place and do that later. You were bad at it? Okay, well, I think that is... I don't know. Not good at puzzle games? Well, there you go. Must be a good puzzle game then. And again, I want to move this out and also put that in a different place. See, if y'all just don't tell me about things, then I don't have to keep track of all the things. Most please I get frustrated? Sure. Alright, so we pushed up that change. We're gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna wait for Copilot to review this PR. We're just gonna merge it. Oh right. So do I want to? So I said I would come back to it, so I guess I will briefly. So I'm using Copilot for code reviews here, and I'm also using their Copilot coding agent to like take GitHub issues for me and make pull requests. And sometimes they're good. I will say I think most of the time it's pretty good. It sometimes makes decisions that I don't agree with, and sometimes it's just wrong. But it's definitely I don't think. I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Because now I'm like, I have a bunch of PRs that I want to review. LLMs can be wrong about pretty short stuff. It's good, yes. I mean, they can be wrong about big things too. But I feel like I will say in my the one thing that I've started to observe is that if I ask it to like write a pull request, do some work, if I would have done it, the time I would have spent, but I would need to think about less at the end whether or not it actually did what it was supposed to do, which is I think a thing that like it can be challenging to be like, you know, you essentially have to be very suspicious of what it's doing, right? So here's something that I spent a good amount of time going back through it and being like, hey, add some comments, because this is like a utility that's going to make some data changes for me, right? And so it's like, hey, let's go through this and um, what am I looking for here? So basically, the script has like a dry run mode, and so I was like, find every place where you are actually making a change and put a comment right next to it about that in a specific style, and then I could go through and review and try to look for myself if it missed anything, and then review again. It are the places where this is happening not possible to get to if it's in dry run mode, those sorts of things, right? So I would be more confident if I would have written it, but on the other hand, that's a danger, right? And that's why, professionally, in a professional setting, working with other people, you're gonna have multiple people reviewing the work, because it's easy to make mistakes as well. So it's not like I'm perfect and Copilot is flawed. We're flawed in different ways. For example, Vivek says, for example, basically every LLM will insist that some specific Python code errors, but it doesn't. If you tell it it doesn't, it tells you that your Python install is simply corrupted. Yes. Things like that. Things where the LLM's knowledge is out of date, like a new API for a service is something I've encountered where like I made a PR specifically to update the use of an API, and then in a subsequent PR or in a review, it tries to undo it or say that, oh, this is the problem. The problem is that this API call is not right. Yeah. Anyway. There are things that we can do. Actually, this is a perfect segue. One of the things that it wants you to do here with the coding agent that it popped up was, hey, can this repository doesn't have Copilot instructions. So this is just like additional context, documentation for the LLM, right? And so getting really meta, we can create an issue that will create instructions for the LLM, and we can assign it to Copilot. I don't intend to use, the point of doing these projects is for me to learn Godot. I think an opportunity here, and like what I did with this pull request, is I spent a bunch of time exploring one way of doing it. I don't have any more time this week to like try a different thing. Can you sketch out this, and then I can load it up and see how it goes? And that's what we did, and we got something that seems to work. So that will go off in the background and scan the project and figure out what makes it tick and make some Copilot instructions for us. So anyway, we are going to go back to VS Code, go back to main, hold down changes, and then maybe we can actually make some progress on the project. All right, so here we are. We have our button that's should be connected. Can we reload? Super fun little thing to ask LLMs about because it's so easy to verify it's horribly wrong. Python behavior has been a thing for decades. Sure. So not even a... oh, that's weird. Why does this say spawn debug obstacle? All right. Main at TSCN. Is that where this button is? Where is the... Huh. Well, that's weird. Yeah. Boy. Oh, what did I hit? I don't know what I hit, but it launched system monitor. That's odd. Okay. How did we lose our changes? Mm-hmm. We did this. No, it didn't revert it. That's odd. Enemy.jd. Okay, we add the control. We add the button. Okay. Hmm. Hold on. Here, I'm gonna do a thing that you should never do, which is take code from Twitch chat and run it. Okay. Yeah, that is kind of weird. So map 0 empty string. I'm just curious. This has nothing to do with game dev, but right. So you would typically pass a function. Is 0 a function? No. That's so weird. Anyway. Okay. So what happened over here? We merged this pull request, right? Ask an LLM about it. Yeah, we can do that. Let's see. Chat. New chat. So we will go into ask mode because I don't want to change things. And then copy. Let's try. What does this do? This is demonstratably Ibly? If only I could spell. See, this is yeah, anyway. False, as this code does run successfully and has for decades. Why do you think otherwise? All right, we're having. Can you even see this with the chat on top of it? Hold on. Oh, I know what I can do. Let me just do this. There we go. Not well. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Now here's the thing though, right? Is that anytime it feels like anytime you're like super confident in saying something, it's just gonna say, yeah, you're right. and it apologized too, which is yeah. It attempts to apply the function 0 to each character. Since the string is empty, the map object is created but never actually tries to call 0 as a function. Sometimes it doubles down on the system being broken. Yeah. I mean, I could believe this. I don't know if this explanation is accurate, but I don't really have an explanation of why um, this specifically would not error out otherwise. But yeah, anyway. All right. Thanks for sharing. Now, I still, speaking of weird things, I don't understand. I pushed the change. Yeah, we don't have the ready function, so that didn't get lost. But I must have... Oh, I bet I know what. Maybe I didn't save in Godot the setting before I committed and pushed in. Okay, so I have an explanation of why my changes are missing. So we'll just do it again. It's not like it takes long. It's all right, add child node, HBox container, move this inside, anchor the HBox container to the bottom, change the button, we hook up pressed to main, we connect, function's already there, and we change this to just be obstacle, and we add an icon, and it is a placeholder texture, and we open that, and we set this to 16 by 16. I think what I would want to eventually do is have it so the button is like more of a square. Maybe just have just an icon. Anyway, so we run this. There we go. We have a button, and we can press it. I know, not very impressive. But the idea is you click this, and you have a thing on the mouse that represents the obstacle you're going to place in the world, and you can click and place it, and then we want to bind this to like 1 or something, but we're going to do that after the ad break, which Twitch insists on running. So we're gonna pause here. I'm gonna take a break for a couple minutes, stretch my legs, and when we come back, obstacles. We're gonna make some obstacles, so be right back.